My name is Jamie Staten, and I'm the Family Engagement Specialist here at TRECA. And today we are going to be talking about Evolve for Families, the parent portal, how to track and enter student time in Evolve, the attendance policy, and who to contact. And we do have several different staff members that are going to help us talk about and walk us through these titles. So I will go ahead and hand it over to them at this time.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Lanzoff. I'm going to be taking you through some of the information about how to enter students' offline time into Evolve. So, as most of you probably know, at TRECA, all attendance is based on hours and minutes. And so, most of those hours and minutes are gathered by the technology that is on the student machines that we give out. But there are some things that technology can't capture. Things like reading a book offline or participating in some other sort of activity that teachers might deem as part of the class, but we can't track because of they're not on the computer. So, what I want to show you today is how you're going to track that information. And then when I'm finished, we're going to move into a portion that's going to show you how you can keep track of all of the time that you're getting. But it's important that you know how to log and submit the time that the computer's not collecting. Now, before I get into this, the one thing I do like to tell folks is that it's kind of a sliding scale based on your student's grade level. The earlier in their K 12 career they are, the more offline time they're going to have. And in fact, some high school students may never even need to submit any offline time. They may be doing some things offline, but they may be getting enough time online that they're not necessarily going to need to submit some of that offline time. So, but our kindergartners, our first graders, second graders certainly are doing quite a bit of work on both paper and reading books and things like that that are not on the computer. So they're not getting credit for that time. We want to make sure that they are by logging it offline. So let's jump in here. So as I said, it is important in the state of Ohio that we provide evidence of any time that students are spent learning. Sometimes that time spent learning is done outside of the TRECA computer, and so we want to get that time that's done outside of the computer into Evolve, our student information system, so that we have it tracked and we can give families credit for that time. All of the resources that I'm sharing today, all of the links, all step-by-step sort of information is all at treca.org/support. That is our main hub for everything in terms of support documentation, videos, and step sheets and those sorts of things. So if there's one URL you walk away from today, remembering it's going to be that treca.org/support. And Jamie just put it in the chat for you if you want to click on it and bookmark it. That might be helpful. Thank you, Jamie. So let's talk a little bit about what time needs to get put into Evolve. If you're participating in some sort of school-sponsored event, like a field trip with Jamie and her team, or testing, or any of those sorts of things, just because they're not happening on your computer doesn't mean we're not keeping track of them. Jamie enters those times for field trips, and our proctors, when they're taking attendance at tests, are marking the time. So students are getting credit for those things. What we're talking about here is things that staff might not be aware of because it's not with staff, right? So if you do any work on the TRECA computer, you do not need to mark it. We have a number of different programs that are keeping track of that, whether it's being logged into Brightspace, we have a program called ActiveTrack, those sorts of things. We are capturing that information, and you do not need to enter that information. We have all of that, and you're safe, and you can expect to get credit for that time. With any of this stuff, if you're unsure, it is fine and wise to check with your teacher or advisor to see if the time that you're getting is you're getting credit for it. Sometimes students may need to work on a personal computer. While I more and more suggest that folks don't do this because there's just so much that we can't control on a personal computer. Um, if you have to, whether you're in between computers from Trecca or you're in a place where you forgot your Trecca computer and you need to work on a personal computer, there are some things that are not going to get picked up. And if you feel like you're not getting credit for some of that time, you can enter them. Things like working on a Word document or a website that you didn't log into. But if you log in with your Trecca information, we're getting that information, and you're getting time credit for it. And then the most important one and probably the biggest chunk is going to be that work that you do away from the computer, reading your notes, doing something like a flashcards, or vocabulary cards, anything that you're doing that's not on the computer. We don't know you're doing it, so we need you to log it. So let me take some time to talk about how we'd like you to log it. Or actually, let's talk about when first. Sorry, I forgot this slide was here. Yeah, we want you to do it as soon as possible, right? So daily at best, weekly at a minimum. We'd like you by the end of the day on Sunday to have all the time entered from the previous week. But if you do it daily, then you're ahead of the game. If you're not sure if something to be logged, reach out to a teacher or advisor during that week, and they'll let you know. Also, in part of this process for logging time, the teacher has to approve it. So if you're not sure and it's the weekend and you want to make sure you get it in, well, go ahead and log it. The teacher's going to look at it and approve it after you've logged it. So they may see, oh no, we're not gonna give you credit for this time, and you'll know for the future. But it's definitely worth trying the first time. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we're going to log time. We're going to use a tool called the Evolve portal. Evolve is our student information system. Other schools use student information systems like that you may have heard more regularly, like PowerSchool or ProgressBook or Dazzle, referred to those by those names. Evolve is just our student information system. And it has a parent side just like those other ones do, and we call that the Evolve portal. And so all of the steps for setting up your Evolve portal are there in the support page. You're going to click create an account, and you can create a parent account of your own with your own username and password, and then you can tie as many students as you want to it. Or if you don't want to create a parent account, that's fine. You can also just simply log in with the student's Brightspace and username and password. The same username and password we have for everything here at Trecca also works for you to log into the portal. So if you don't want to set up your own account, you're welcome to just use that student account. They have all similar access to what a parent account would have. The advantage of having a parent account is that if you have multiple students with us, you only have to have one account that you log into to view each student's information. So once you set up your account, it's going to look something like this. You see at the top here, you have your students. You're going to choose a student, and then the section, and this is to enter time. The section that you want to go to enter time is going to be the schedule. And the reason we're clicking the schedule is because when we click on the schedule, we have a list of all the students' courses. And any time that you're reporting has to be tied to a specific course. Ohio state law requires all these schools to have the teacher of the course approve the time. So we can't tell what course a specific amount of time is tied to if you don't submit it as part of a course. So we ask that you do it tied to a specific course. I know sometimes you might be doing things that might cover more than one course. Just go ahead and pick one, and the teacher of that course will be the one to approve it. So you're going to click on Report Student Time to the far right of the line for that course. And then once you do that, you're going to enter the information that it's asking for. It's going to ask you for the start and end time. It will calculate the total time for you. It's going to ask you for a date, and it's going to ask you for a description. We highly, highly recommend. This helps teachers out a lot and allows them to be kind of more likely to approve it, but also to approve things more quickly, is if you put the block and the week that the specific activity is tied to. So if you're doing vocabulary flashcards for a specific biology block, then maybe you'll put that block in there and you'll write something like, drilling or working on vocabulary flashcards. Just a little bit of information to help the teacher know that that's what that time was for. Within about 48 hours, usually faster than that, the teachers will approve it. And you can see in the portal the time that you have waiting for approval. If it's been rejected, you'll get a reason for it. Many teachers also will give you the courtesy of an email to kind of explain, hey, this isn't part of the course. I can't give you credit for this time if they are going to reject it. And you will see that it's rejected or approved in the line within the list of all the time that your student has. And that is something that we're going to cover a little later, how you get to that list of all the time that we've collected. You can check your total time by clicking attendance and student calendar. Like I said, we'll have more details on how to do this and how to interpret all of this in the coming slides. But it's important to remember you can check to see any of the time you submitted or any of the time that has been gathered for both online and offline by clicking this attendance section on this main page of the portal. And then if you want to specifically check for your offline time, when you go into that attendance, you can go into the student time summary here and use the search to look specifically for the things that you submitted. So the best way to do that would be to put in the block name of what you put in the description. The other thing you could do is all these, like I said, like it says here, all these columns are sortable. So you could go to activity and sort, and then it'll bring all that parent reported time, because it's going to be called parent reported time as the activity. So you can go through and see all that parent reported time in one full list. What questions do folks have about logging that offline time? You can either raise your hand or just unmute. It's fine.
Actually, like, where do you find this page? Because I've got in my Evolve and it has like different color things to click on, but the attendance or whatever, it doesn't really show me anything like that.
Do you mean specifically the page where you're going to enter the time, or the page where you're going to
Yes,
see
because
the
I get into my Evolve and it has like the different, the different things you click on.
So when you get into the Evolve portal, you probably see something similar to this. When you click schedule, it's going to bring up the full list of the student that you're looking at courses, and then on the far right there's report student time.
All right, I'll have to look at that again.
Yeah, clicking that takes you to this page where you enter the information.
Mine just looks a little different then.
Okay. And what I would say is if you're feeling like what you have is not matching the step sheets that Jamie provided links to in the chat, you're welcome to call the help desk, and they can walk you through, look at what you're seeing, and help you make sure you have the right ability to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Other questions? I'm going to turn things over to our SAFE team. They're going to talk us through, I think, right? Ty and Kemba, you're going to take us through the next set of slides.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Mr. Matt. My name is Kemba Hubbard. I'm one of the student attendance specialists here at TRECA. My responsibility is when students become truant, I meet with the family to create the plans and manage the plans. And if the plans aren't followed, my responsibility is to do an unruly truancy filing with juvenile court. I'm here with my supervisor, Mr. Hoyles, who will be chiming in as we go over the attendance policy. So, Jamie, I don't know why it's not. Oh, there we go. I was like, it's not moving. Okay. So we do have to report our attendance to the state of Ohio. So we do have an attendance policy and requirement here at TRECA. So it is that students are required to log in for 25 hours and 50 minutes a week. The way that this is met is to meet your daily requirements or your Monday through Friday, each school day requirement, which is 5 hours and 10 minutes. I am praying this is not new information, but it is. Again, you want to log in each school day for 5 hours and 10 minutes. Our school day ends at 11:59 p.m. So of course we do not expect students to be sitting staring at their computer for 5 hours and 10 minutes. That is not even at what we do as staff. However, with breaks and whatever time you determine to log in, you do have till 11:59 p.m. Now, I will tell you, as a student attendance specialist, I do recommend that you are logging the majority of that time during school hours and that you are logging in at the same time every day. The reason why this is important is that is when our staff is available. You should have all green days. I know that might not make much sense to you right now, but our attendance officer is going to show you when you log into Evolve how you can look at your attendance per day. And the code for a present day here at Trecca is a green day. So the only way to guarantee you will not end up on our truancy list is to make sure you have green days, Monday through Friday. One of the things that is unique and to the advantage here at Trecca is if you don't meet your hours, you can make up your hours on the weekends and or holidays. You can see that on the Evolve portal. The Evolve portal will record your time even if it's on the weekends. If you're not able to log in, we do understand that things happen and there are approved reasons to why you need to be out. However, just like if you were in a school with walls, we don't know that unless you report it. So we have an attendance officer that you can call. You'll meet him a little bit later, or you can report your hours through the portal, or you can send an email. Please note, just like you would in a school with walls, you are required to make that time up. So just because you have to be out, those lessons for that day or that lessons in that block will still be required to be completed. So I believe someone asked before about what it looks like when you get into the portal. You will see all these tabs. To find the information I am referring to as far as monitoring attendance is on this very ugly brown tab. I'm not sure why it's brown, but it is. And it says attendance and student calendar. Now, we are getting information from Brightspace, and so it takes sometimes for it to come over to the Evolve portal. So unfortunately, sometimes it will spin when you click on this brown calendar, this tab. But when you finally get the information, you're going to see these 4 gray boxes. They are one of your best friends when you are monitoring attendance. So it says weekly hours, month to date hours. The third box says year to date hours. And the fourth box says yearly hours. So you're going to see these. And there's also a way to monitor hours by day. So this is what you'll see when you click on that attendance and student calendar. And on our next slide, we'll kind of go into some detail. So the weekly hours is exactly what it says. It's your hours, your student hours, or your hours as a student for the week. Now, you'll see where it has your expected hours. It'll have your attended hours and your absent hours. So your goal by the time you get to Thursday or Friday is that absence hours is as close to 0 as possible. I tell my students on Thursday, when you check this, if it's more than 5 hours, that's letting you know how much longer you need to work on Friday and or on the weekend. Month to date hours is exactly what it says. It's for that month. Unfortunately, there's not a way to look at the previous month, but those where you see in that third line absent hours, ideally, that should say 0. Then we have year to date hours, exactly what it says. It's from the day you started here at Trecca until that present day, how many hours you have in the state of Ohio. When you have more than 72 hours there, you're considered truant. Then we have our yearly hours. So all students that attend Trecca are required to have a 921 hours for the school year. So that's what that fourth box is about. To see your hours by day, Mr. Nemeth is going to go over that, and that's going to be you clicking on that green go button. But before we move on, Mr. Hoyles, is there something I missed or something I needed to add when reviewing this part of our attendance policy?
No, not that I'm aware of at this point, but certainly if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay, before I turn it over to Mr. Nemeth, who will probably repeat this, there are other ways that we try to inform parents and learning partners. That is through phone calls, through the emails that you're getting as students and as learning partners, whether you met your hours or not. So that's another way to get the information. However, when I do attendance plans with families, this is really what you want to be checking at least once a week. So with that, Mr. Nemeth is going to go into more detail of what it looks like looking at the attendance by day.
Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Nemeth. I'm the attendance officer for Trekka Digital Academy. And I should let Kimba keep talking because she's doing a great job. So basically, this slide here shows us a day-to-day breakdown of what your day would look like. So first we have like the 18th, and you're going to see me look at a different screen because my eyesight's awful, so I can't look at my small screen. So we're looking at the 18th, and as you can see, we said present days green. Green is good, present's good, and that means you've completed all 5 hours and 10 minutes or more. So like you can see in the first, the first column there, that the expected time was 5:07 right here. And this student put in 7 hours and 30 minutes, which is good. Now, just please keep in mind that some students can work up to 10 hours or more. However, the state of Ohio only allows us to calculate and accept 10 hours. So anything over 10 hours, because we do have those students that do like to be on for that long and complete coursework. But we can only accept 10 hours. So then the next to the 7 hours and 30 minutes is the offline time. Like Mr. Lanzoff explained, this is where you would see your time when you are doing offline coursework. And as you can see, this student does not have any offline time on any of these days. So it just shows up as zeros. The next column would be the absent time. So if we look at the 19th, we can see that this student put in a total of 2 hours and 18 minutes. That's not a whole day because a whole day is 5 hours and 10 minutes. So it looks to me like they have about 2 hours and 49 minutes of absence time. Basically what that does, though, it's not an unexcused day. It's what we consider a limited present day, which means the student logged in and the student did work, but they just didn't get all of their hours. So basically they would just need to try to make up those 2 hours and 49 minutes later on in the week, either the next day, or by, Saturday and Sunday also. So you want to stay away from red days, which means you didn't log in at all. And you want green days, but blue days are not a bad thing. It just means that you have some hours to make up. And then as you can see, weekly recorded time, we do have programs such as Brightspace, Edgenuity, and some other third-party programs that do not give us daily snapshots of your students' time. They sometimes come in weekly, where you will see in this column the weekly recorded time. And as you can see, on the 24th, that student recorded, it looks like 10 minutes of weekly time. So that means we got that information after the week, at the end of the week, probably on a Sunday. So that's why you'll see that. And then sometimes our programs don't give us time until the end of the month. Now, there are less and less programs we are using that do the monthly recorded time. So there won't be, as we keep going on, we're getting more and more of that information sooner than a month. So that would, you would see that there. But again, just getting back, we definitely want to see green days or blue days, just not the red days. The red days, you will receive an automated phone call, means you didn't, do 5 hours and 10 minutes worth of schoolwork. You'll receive an email, and you'll probably be calling me or the attendance hotline. we would like, when you have a blue day and you're unable to complete, like on the 19th, they didn't complete the whole 2 hour or whole 5 hours and 10 minutes. So the absent time was 2:49. We still want a reason why your student is unable to attend for that 2 hours and 49 minutes. We have students, they could have gotten ill, later on in the afternoon, or they had a medical excuse where they had to go to the doctor. We still want that information. So please make sure to send that in. And Kimba said one of the ways you can do that is you have the attendance hotline, which is the best way. It's an automated system. You just answer the questions, and that automatically drops into my email. And then I go back in and I excuse the missed time. You can email attendance@trecca.org, or you can, we have the portal. There is a way to actually submit your stuff through the portal. I do ask, because one thing I've received this year is a lot of people are going through the portal to put excuses in, but they're not giving me a reason, the excuse reason. They're just leaving that area blank. It's the, I do believe it's the absent reason is the screen, and it just says absent reason. And I need that information in order to make sure that I excuse for the right reason, whether it be medical, whether it be just an illness, or unfortunately a funeral or something like that. So if we go on, these are just some of the requirements. I am supposed to continue, right, Kimba and Ty? Okay. So these are some of the attendance requirements. The parents and the learning partners should check the students' attendance located in the Evolve portal at least once a week, if not more. Students at Trecca who track their time and assignments daily use a whiteboard. We gave out Trecca planners, calendars. Unfortunately, the Evolve time is not, what do I want to say? It's not live time because your time comes in the next day, because we have to get, we have students that some work up until 11:30 at night. So we have to give them until 11:59 to get everything done. So your time does not come in until the next day. I would say somewhere around 8:30, you can check that and you'll see your time. And here recently, we've had some issues with attendance, but just understand we've gotten everything corrected. And it does happen from time to time where attendance is not correct, and we have the systems team go in and correct that stuff. Students who fail to log in for more than 3 school days must present a note, a medical note. I can excuse up to 3 days without a medical note, but if you need a 4th, 5th, or 6th day, we will need that medical excuse. And we've added this year to the rules that we need that school excuse within 14 school days. So you have a while to get it, but the sooner the better. And you can always submit that by either emailing it, that's probably the best way, faxing it, or attaching it to a portal submission. I will tell you, with the portal submission, it cannot be a large JPEG. It will not connect. It needs to be small. So probably the best way is to email, I would assume, or fax. So let's see. So attendance requirements and progress expectations go hand in hand. Middle and high school students should aim to complete a total of 10 to 15 assignments per week. So that's something you would want to discuss with your advisor, and just make sure, always, touch base with your advisor, make sure your student is where they're supposed to be. It's required to submit an assignment in every class every week. And then elementary students, they should work closely with their teacher to meet daily assignment submission goals. Most elementary students are assigned to live small group instruction. So these live sessions are required, and then your daily efforts matter. Just make sure your constant progress equals academic success. And like I say on all my emails, 80% of going to school is just showing up. It's just showing up and doing what has been asked of you by your teachers or your advisors. So, is there any questions for me regarding attendance or excuses or any of that?
I do have two questions. The first one is, as far as assignments go, and I just want to make sure I have this right, the only way for us to see that is to log in with our student on their Brightspace account. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, that is
I didn't
correct.
have it. Yes. Okay.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Matt. You're going to say something.
Yes, I was just confirming. So if Steve goes back one slide, or I can do it. We try here to make a differentiation or a distinction between attendance and progress. So what Kylie's asking about there was essentially progress, completing coursework and moving through the courses. And so checking that you're going to do in Brightspace, and by communicating with the students' advisors and teachers. Attendance, Evolve is the place to be most aware of. Did you have
Okay.
another
I
question,
just want to
Kylie?
yes, I was just making sure I wasn't missing something there. And then my second question was actually more of like a scenario. So I noticed that my son, a couple of days, was like 10 minutes short or 5 minutes short. And we made a schedule for him to kind of build in extra time. But then one of the days, somehow he got an insane amount of time. So for the week, he was actually over. But there's a few days where he's not in the green because he missed, say, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, and that is fine. As Kemba kind of stressed, it's important to be hitting that expectations at the end of the weeks. We have much older students who are, working 40-hour-a-week jobs. And so they're not, some days they may only be able to put an hour in for us. But the real expectation and the way to kind of hit our goals and make sure that, we're happy with your attendance as a school and you're not facing the processes that Kemba would take you to is to make sure at the end of the week that you're hitting that 25-hour, 50-minute mark.
Okay,
And
thank you.
and I could add to that, and Mr. Lanzoff could help me here too if I'm off the mark. But when your son one day got a lot of time, it could have been what we talked about earlier, where if he's working in other, like outside of Brightspace, and reading eggs, there's so many. I'm just using reading eggs as an example. When he's working in that, then that ultimately he'll get the time for that, but it all comes at once. Like Mr. Neiman was talking, it'll sometimes come at the end of the week, instead of every day. And it'll that's why he probably got a lot of time one day, because it was adding up the time he was spending in other programs.
Okay, that makes sense. I appreciate you saying that again, because I think I missed that one. That was said
Yeah.
before.
What grade is he in?
7th.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's the middle school team does use some things that are outside of Brightspace that might collect time. We want to make sure that our teachers can use whatever programs they feel are best to help students. And so the way it collects time is kind of the last thing we worry about when we're evaluating programs. So it's not always the box that we want to fit it in where it's super up to date and giving us all the information we want right away. But our systems team, the folks that are kind of running Evolve in the background, they're going to make sure that the student eventually gets credit for the time. And that's why we say that weekly check is really, really the most valuable, because that's when we know we're most up to date.
Yes, and just to reiterate that point, I've had students who are shocked when they get a letter from us, just to what you have stated, that they feel like they were ahead of their time. However, when you have more than 42 unexcused hours in a month, you can land on the truancy list, even if you've met your yearly hours. So I find that's more, of course, near the end of the year, but I just met with a family today that happened to. So again, it's just paying attention. And I just want to reiterate that that weekly, because even if you are considered ahead, that's why we have the requirement that you log in every day for the 5 hours and 10 minutes. That really is the only way to guarantee you will not end up on the truancy list.
That does bring up one more question. I'm so sorry, and I appreciate your help. He seems to be like working ahead at times in certain things, and I'm just looking ahead. I don't know if he'll end up getting really far ahead. So, with that being said, at the end of the school year, if he finished all of his blocks early, how does that work then? At that point?
Yeah, so the middle school team will evaluate where students are around April and May, and be communicating about, expectations for finishing up. And if students are ahead, then they will have extension activities or items that students can do to prepare for eighth grade in your student's case, or high school for eighth graders. If it's very, very early, we have promoted students early. Now, it's probably getting towards the point in the year where we wouldn't do that, maybe within the next month or two, but that's something that I would definitely communicate with the students' advisors. The 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students all have middle school specific advisors. So they're, very well versed in the processes for middle school, and can definitely help you figure out where your student is and how much more they need to go and what might happen when they do finish up those blocks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There are no more questions. I'll jump in here with the remainder of the slides.
Mr. Lanzoff, can I interrupt you real quick though? So one of the things that Mr. Nemeth didn't mention, but is important, is if we go back to that example, do you mind doing that, Matt, that has
This one?
Yeah. So unfortunately, it doesn't have what color day when you call and report your absence. So if you call and report absences and it's approved by Mr. Nemeth, our attendance officer, then it actually turns, you'll see a code of yellow on the E for excuse day. So I just wanted to bring that up. And also we have another excellent resource that was done by Mr. Lanzoff and his team. It's our attendance barrier video. And so I'm going to put that in the link. So that will give you additional information, kind of review what we talked about today, because I can understand this is a lot of information. So I just wanted to point out that he did an excellent job on this. So you can use that video to go back and review some of the things we talked about today. Thank you for
You
letting
get to hang out with me for another 4 minutes on a YouTube video. This right here, actually, I think I can grab a marker, maybe. Nope, I don't have the ability to do that. But if you look to the left here under this column for code, you see that there's the E and the U. The E would be yellow. That's if Mr. Nemeth has excused it, and the U is unexcused. We haven't heard anything about that day. We don't have any time for you, so you have a full unexcused absence, and it's red. The T is for tardy, and we don't use that at all. You'll never see that lit up. Okay.
Just so you're aware, that's actually orange for excuse, not yellow, but
Okay.
It's orange. and try not to focus on those, excused, unexcused, your student has until Sunday at midnight to make up all the hours. As long as all the hours of 25 hours and 50 minutes are made, that's the goal we're looking at, And just so you know, if they have like 2 hours to make up and they make it up on Saturday, it's still not going to change your attendance for the day that he or she missed that 2 hours. That's still going to show limited. Okay. So it doesn't go back and change. Now, there will be some times that you will see a change. So let's say your son or daughter received time in the morning, or, you get the attendance time, and he or she is short by 10 minutes. And then at 4:30, our systems team does another upload of time. And then you could actually see that day go from limited to an actual present day. So just so you know, that happens. But if that doesn't happen, and then your son or daughter makes up the time later on, that day is going to still stay limited. Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, so the last little bit we want to share with you this afternoon is a document that helps you kind of with navigating who to talk to when for all situations here at Trecca. We call it the Have Your Back because, we want to make sure that you have all these different adults within the school that are here to help support students and families. Jamie put the direct link in the chat, but there's also a short link that you can remember which is Trecca.org has your back. I'll just kind of take you through and talk you through some of these different groups. The main number, that 888 number, is going to be the best way to contact anybody at Trecca. If you dial in and immediately hit 3 for the help desk, I think it is. I think 0 will also take you to the help desk. They are what I like to refer to as kind of our air traffic control for calls. Just because they're most well versed in the tech support doesn't mean they can't also help you get to who you need for other types of questions. So don't hesitate to just call and ask. So just a couple of different types of positions we have here. We have our regional staff. Those are the folks you met on your first day, when you came in, got your computer, and were enrolled. Those folks their responsibility is that experience that you had on the first day, as well as scheduling all of our testing, which sometimes happens in our regional offices and also happens at other locations throughout the state. We have advisors. Advisors are going to be your first point of contact. They're often going to be the best point of contact for anything. At minimum, they're going to be able to help you with connecting with the folks that you need to. Teachers are the instructional folks. They're the folks that are making the instructional decisions, assigning the assignments, grading the assignments, and working with students directly to help them master the things they need to. I mentioned the help desk already. Our school counselors, we have one school counselor for K through 8, and then the rest of the counselors all are responsible for a group of high schoolers that are divided up by last name. And those are the folks that are there to help make sure that our students are getting the credits and test scores and things they need to graduate, as long as helping them navigate through other services that they might need. You met Steve, he's the attendance officer. He and the SAVE team are the folks that are going to be working with you on attendance related things. Our records team works with making sure that we maintain records for the state, as well as getting you things like work permits and transcripts and those other sorts of things that folks need. We talked a little bit more about the SAVE team. That's Ty and Kemba's team. They're going to be the ones both helping you navigate the attendance world of things, but also work with you on other social emotional needs or other things that support that students may need. And then finally, our special needs staff, students who have been identified or are in the process of being identified for needing extra support services. That team are the ones that work with them. So I will hand it back over to Jamie to let you know about the survey. She looks like she already put a link in there, and field any extra questions we have.